think she's gonna try there.
Okay. Anybody else? Any other audio or videos? Okay.
Okay. We need to make,
No,
or
it's
no,
me.
it is you, I'm sorry, I jumped ahead.
Okay.
Oath of office.
Okay. It is not entirely uncommon for incumbents to fail to take a new oath of office when they get reelected. We've seen this many times, particularly during the pandemic when folks' regular course of business has been so disrupted. So as long as the failure was not of a willful or intentional refusal to take the oath, MRSC does not believe that RCW 4212-10-6 operates to create a vacancy in the office. Further, some of our consultants have reached the conclusion that RCW 29A60.280-3 does not dictate when an oath must be taken because the statute uses the word may. Although it is possible to take the oath too early, we do recommend that as soon as the error or oversight is discovered, the oath be administered so there is no risk the failure rises to level of being willful and thus triggering a vacancy. Further, any action taken by the official prior to taking the oath is valid under the de facto officer doctrine. There is no need to ratify past actions. If you would like a copy of this determination from MRSC and our lawyer, you may public request it.
Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you. Okay, our minutes from December 2023 and January 2024. We're gonna need a motion to accept those.
I'll make a motion to accept both the minutes for December 2023 and January 2024.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion passed. Okay, county commissioners report.
Just 1 second.
Oh, sorry.
I got Trevor.
Oh, you do.
Hi, Trevor. We'll be with you in just a quick few minutes, okay?
Sounds good.
All right, go ahead.
Brian?
I'll share a couple of things pertinent to the north end of the county that the commissioners have been working on lately. We spoke at length last night about this, and I'm sure Blake will speak to it as well. The commissioners have made a commitment to take action this year to take a vote on whether to create a countywide emergency medical services district. You might remember, if you've been around a while, that effort has been tried before. I know when I was here on the council in Metaline, I remember Mr. Manus coming around and drumming up that idea at the time, and I think we soundly shot him down. And so this is not new, and now I'm on the other side of the table. Lots has changed since then. I, for one, think that would be the best means to provide an efficient emergency medical service, efficient and proficient emergency medical service throughout the county, especially if the other fire districts all agree that that is the right course going forward. And our commitment to take action on creating that is contingent on them having some agreement that that's the way they want to go. For the commissioners, all of your junior districts basically are created by the Board of Commissioners. So our role in that would be basically to take a vote and say, we're going to create an EMS district and these are the boundaries. And then we would appoint the initial commissioners for that EMS district. And then those commissioners would create the bylaws, they would create the structure, and then they would also presumably float a levy. And that levy would have to go to the voters. So just by us creating the district doesn't mean that there would be a tax levy. It doesn't mean that we would set how it would operate. All we would do would be that initial district and then appoint the initial commissioners. After that, they would of course be elected. I for one think that is probably a good idea from what I've seen. We're going through a series of public hearings about that. We will be having a public hearing coming up next month when we are here in Metaline at the town hall on that subject. I would appreciate the north end of the county giving us their opinions, good, bad, or ugly, on that.
What day is this gonna be, Brian?
March 5th.
March 5th.
Thank you, Blake. I forgot last night too.
Nope, that's all right.
I could tell you what I anticipate some of the questions might be. Why would we up north vote for an additional levy on our tax statement when we're already getting excellent ALS emergency medical services? That's a real good question, okay? And I expect that Fire 2 will have a real good answer for that. So that's one question you might ask. I would also balance that with, you might ask, why is our taxes up here possibly subsidizing ALS emergency medical services in other districts throughout the county right now? Okay? By creating an EMS district, it is equitable taxing in the sense that everybody who is paying in that district is receiving that service. Okay? And those services don't go outside of that district, and the taxes are equitable for that particular service. I think also for us up here, really proficient medical response is much more critical than the south end of the county. I had a discussion with our public comment this week down in Newport, and one of the gentlemen said, well, you guys have a hospital up there. And I just looked at him and laughed. I'm like, my sister was the last one to be born in the hospital, and her kids are pushing 19 years old. So no, we don't have a hospital up here. And so if you have an issue up here, it's an hour, if you're lucky. So for us up here, that's pretty critical. We're used to that. So those are some of the things to think about. That process going forward, it's going to probably come to a vote this year, whether we do that or not. And I can't say exactly how that will come out. And I couldn't even tell you how I would vote on the levy decision. I think right now I'm going to at least say I support the idea of an EMS district for the county until I see something that changes my mind on that idea. Other things we're working on, local government and tribes consistency fund. I'm memorizing that. You'll see that on our agenda, LATCF. And you'll see that discussion on our agenda. That is connected to PILT. And PILT is payment in lieu of taxes. Payment in lieu of taxes is what the U.S. Forest Service pays Ponderay County instead of paying taxes on 60% of the county. Okay? They own 60 more or less percent of the county. U.S. Forest Service does. So PILT is what we get instead of them paying taxes. And part of that program years ago during this Spotted Owl and Northwest Timber deal was that we would get additional funding to replace the reduced timber harvest. Okay? And part of that deal recently during the big bills, infrastructure bills, was that we would get an increased share of that infrastructure spending because of the impact of federal government lands on our county. And we have 40% of this county, 30% of this county is private property. And that's very much limits economic activity in this county. Go drive Stevens County. Go drive Kootenai County. It looks a lot different because it is a lot different. Okay. So that funding in the infrastructure bill is at LATCF. The Ponderay County got $4 million. To give you an idea, Ferry County got $7 million, I believe. Or not Ferry, maybe it was Okanagan. Some of the counties over there got significantly more. You wanna know more about it, look in a Seattle newspaper called The Crosscut. They did an article and they interviewed me about it. We're debating how to spend that money. Okay, and we made a commitment that we would like to spend that money in ways that increase revenue for Ponderay County government and the Ponderay County community, things that are an investment. So we've made that commitment. You'll see that on our agenda. We're kind of debating those ideas back and forth of how we would like to spend that. We don't want to spend it on general government services. And we don't want to pay bills with it.
We could do some more studies.
Yes. Don't laugh. So, yeah, you will see that. We're working on that a lot and trying to refine something that the three commissioners can agree on that would, in 20 years from now, leverage that funding and make it be a significant improvement for this county. So that's a significant chunk of revenue. So that's the other thing that we're really hammering away at. I'm not sure that might even be on our agenda when we come up here to Metaline. I'm leaning towards some of the impediments that I see in the county, you know, water, sewer stuff, planning, zoning stuff, impediments to growth and to economic activity. That's where I'm leaning towards. Commissioner Rosenkrantz is definitely leaning towards roads and you know, the impacts of our roads, and I agree with him. Our roads are in bad shape, and the funding for our roads is not looking good. So we're debating that back and forth, and Commissioner Gentle was very much thinking about economic development type things for that funding. So that's the other thing we're working on a lot. That's probably about all I'll share. I don't want to take up all you guys' time. I'm always available for questions, and I'll leave some time for Blake to talk more about the EMS district. And I'm definitely available to take questions on that process.
We do have a guest, yes. Well, thank you, Brian, for
Yep.
that. Yes. I have one question on the March 5th. How long are you guys here that day?
We'll be here all day,
All day?
pretty
Okay.
sure.
All right, thank you. So, sheriff's report, Glenn?
So, in January, you had 8 calls for service. Really, only 2 calls for service. First one was an animal noise. It's kind of an ongoing issue. A neighbor was complaining about a dog that barks at all, you know, excessively at all hours. The deputy did respond to the area, sat there for about 20 minutes, did not hear the dog. Did talk to a different neighbor that was not the complainant, and they confirmed that that dog does bark excessively, randomly. So the deputy's just gonna continue to do, you know, passes through the area.
I can confirm that the dog has been rehomed to a farm in Stevens County.
Perfect, I will let the deputy know that. So they were just gonna
Because
continue.
they woke me up at 5 in the morning to tell me first.
Okay, perfect. Small community. So it sounds like that one's resolved, so we're good.
It is.
You had 6 actual paper services, which is us just delivering court papers and civil processes to folks. And for Mike's benefit, there was 1 traffic stop, and it was for speed through town. So the person received a verbal warning for it. But
He's smart.
I don't know how fast they were actually going, so it may have been just a couple of miles over, but
So I was actually going to ask if you will put somebody up here at about anywhere from 7:45 until about 8:30 in the morning.
okay.
It
It
would
gets
be-
fast.
Oh, yeah.
Saturday morning when the border opens is a good time
Even
to have somebody here.
school day.
It's really unreal how fast they go.
Okay, perfect.
I mean, you don't know how many times I got them run to the door, then I have them back sit down.
Old habits die hard, don't they? So, perfect. So that was it for your calls for service.
Okay.
Any questions on those? Okay. The only other thing we kind of touched on before the meeting in that I am trying to get myself more legislatively involved. I've talked to former sheriffs and they didn't have to worry about it. It was just kind of that thing that happened over in Olympia and was not a big issue. That is no longer the case. Law enforcement must be involved in the process now. Some of the laws that are going through are just, they're definitely not helpful to the public. And we have found recently with the pursuit bill where they, in our opinion, they screwed it up very badly. They tried to fix it and did a poor job of that. And then they just said, oh, we're not going to do anything with it. Well, petition went around the state. The citizens got enough signatures to put that back before the legislature. Our lobbyist over in Olympia told us as a law enforcement body, as our organization, told us he did not want to go into the legislature and push that again. He was afraid he would get lynched on it until the citizens got the petition and said they were also concerned about it. And now for some reason it seems to be a hot topic.
450,000 signatures
Yeah.
plus.
So the citizens' voice does matter. So they don't listen to us, they don't hear us if we don't use our voice. So over the next couple of months, I want to start putting stuff out on the Sheriff's Office Facebook page and other media sources and just get the information out about how easy it is to have your voice heard respectfully. And that's the thing that concerns me, because I've talked to people who use a lot of colorful language when they talk about the West Side. I don't necessarily disagree with them, but you'll get more response if it's respectful and clear as to what your voice is. So over the next couple of months, I'm going to be trying to get more information about how that goes along, how the citizens can get involved, how their voice can matter, and then getting myself more legislatively involved. So I'm talking more with our legislators, working more closely with our sheriffs and chiefs organizations to have a collective voice on things and just make myself more aware. So if you guys hear of any legislation that concerns you, let me know so I can at least look into it and see. It's just one of those ways that you can help kind of push me along and keep me committed to this. So any help I can get, any information, bring it on.
Great, thank you, Bob. Okay, fire district 2.
All right. So the short part is Metaline's calls for January 2024. You had 0 calls, 0 fire, 0 EMS. Everyone's healthy and safe here. Last year you had 4 EMS calls. So that is 1 month. For the county that Fire District 2 supports now, from here all the way south to Newport for EMS, and then our regular 800 square miles of Fire District 2, we had a total of 187 calls. So last year at this time, we had somewhere in the neighborhood of about probably 50 calls, 60 calls. So you can see by expanding EMS down there, to answer or to clear up maybe the commissioner's inference that your tax money is being spent down south. That is not the case at this time. Currently, we are using a contract with the hospital to fund our escapade down south. When Pomes closed, the rest of the county did not have a plan for how to continue providing paramedic services. We, being good neighbors, already have mutual aid agreements with all the other fire districts in the tribe throughout the county. So we stepped up to say that yes, we can provide those services, providing that it pays us back. We are currently in that day-to-day look of, are we bringing in the income to pay for what we're doing? Right now, I will tell you, we're not going to get rich doing this. We are looking to be sustainable. So we want to see that we bring in enough income every month to pay for what we're putting out in expenses for personnel and equipment. And then our goal is to have that, whatever extra we do make, be able to come back up here and prop up Fire District 2 services and improve them for you guys here. So that is why we're taking a little risk doing this. It's also the right thing to do for our neighbors. We are one county. That leads into, you received a copy of the Board of Commissioners letter. That letter was sent out by the board secretary, but essentially they're asking for feedback. They want the towns and the other municipalities, associated entities in Pend Oreille County to weigh in on this, to give them guidance on creating this EMS district. So I would ask that you guys as a town spend a couple minutes, debate this, talk about it, look into it, and then one way or the other, we would ask that you support it, but we would like you to give them feedback. There are voted representatives. We want everybody to give them feedback so they can make the right choice. Fire District 2 does support the idea of an EMS district. We believe that we're at a place that Ponderay County has never been as far as the cohesion and the working together of all the fire districts. But all throughout the county, we have varying degrees of EMS services, yet we have mutual aid agreements amongst each other. And what happens is you guys have done a good job managing your fire and EMS services. You just voted in a levy lift for this year. I'm sure you all saw that bill come in this month. I know I did. But you guys have done a good job. You guys have had paramedic services up here in Fire District 2 for well over, going on, it's over 25 years for sure. You had Jeff Wallace as one of the first paramedics, and then many others since then. Your paramedic services aren't going away. Whether we vote for the EMS district or not, Fire District 2 oversees your EMS services. You have these services. It's the rest of the county that we're trying to help them get it together. And without this EMS district, they don't have a mechanism, a funding mechanism, or anything else. They don't even have a license currently in the South to have paramedic services. That's why we were invited to come down there as the only entity with an ALS license from the Department of Health in the county. So this EMS district creates an organization and a board of commissioners to manage it, but to put in a ALS service across the county. It's been proven now, we feel, private services don't work. Last 4 have gone out of business in the Newport area, and they have the greater share of population. So private entity isn't the way to go. We have proven up here that fire district based EMS does work and can be made to work, but in all of that, it's going to require some organization and possibly a levy in the future. We can get to that, and the great part about that is you guys, everybody throughout the county gets to vote on it. So I wouldn't put all of your focus on whether or not we're talking about another levy yet, because that really isn't the case. What we're talking about right now is, do we want to guide our commissioners to create an EMS district once we have that organization and they get organized? If they never got organized and never got any funding, it won't amount to anything. It doesn't hurt us, won't help us, but it won't hurt us. If we as the public see something that we can get behind and we see a good plan, then we can vote to support it. The state of Washington allows you to levy for an EMS district between 1 and 50 cents on the 1,000, but it's capped at 50 cents, so it could not go above that. So, something to consider, but please give the commissioners your feedback. That's what they're really asking for. I'm just sharing their letter with you and asking that you guys, maybe as a town, come to some sort of conclusion and then pass that on to them. So, and if you have more questions about the EMS district or any of that, or Fire District 2, by all means, get a hold of us down there at the office and we'll answer any of those questions.
Yeah, I'll just tag on to that, like, a couple of things. I intentionally distorted the idea of us subsidizing the south end of the county, because that's questions that have been asked of me.
Absolutely.
People have that, and so I want us to have a ready answer for that perception that's there. And the second part of it, as far as questions or, wanting more knowledge or specific of this, during our meeting that's steered, the structure of that meeting, we're gonna have a half an hour of strictly public comment, where we're just gonna take comment, and it's gonna go into our record, it's gonna be recorded, and then we're gonna have a half an hour workshop where we try to address some of the questions or concerns that were brought up during the public comment. And so we'll have, you know, some of the fire chiefs here and some of the relevant experts on that during the workshop. So, but in case people want to attend that.
It really did seem fruitful. They just had this, they had one of their commissioner meetings here yesterday. Yes, yesterday morning, down there at the courthouse, and had that half-hour comment period so folks could zoom in, folks could be here to comment, and then folks, we had the workshop afterwards, and the commissioners came down and sat down with us, and we all kind of wrestled with the, well, wait a minute, I've got a question about this, or did I hear that right? And so, really, the public would benefit, I think, greatly from being there and being able to ask those questions. So yeah, again, March 5th. I think it's scheduled for 1:30, Brian, if I'm not mistaken. But
Yeah, but this time of night I can't tell you, so.
yeah, that was the one note I had a while back, so I threw it in my calendar at 1:30. But I know you guys are here doing county business all day.
Yeah, and you'll see it on our agenda that's published. And it's, you know,
Okay.
those things get shifted around sometimes the week before.
Sure.
But look for it on our
Thank you,
agenda.
Blake.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you, Brian. Okay, we have a special guest, Dr. Trevor Lane, WSU Extension.
Good evening.
Good evening.
And we're talking about composting, right?
Yes, we are.
Excellent. I may have a solution, but before I just jump out there, would love to hear more about how I can help.
Delane. So,
Oh, well, you know, we just, we're interested, we'd like to start a composting program in the park, and I've got some ideas of my own and whatnot, but, you know, we're always looking for suggestions on how to set things up and, you know, what to do. One thing that I'm wondering, the goal of this is actually just, we get yard waste and whatnot. We take in the folks that dredge the river with the milfoil. We bring the milfoil up, and I've actually been composting it for several years now, whatnot. But anyway, I just wanted to make this stuff available to the townsfolk for beautification purposes. And I'm sure there are more efficient ways to do it than what I'm doing.
Well, I've had a chance to talk to a few people locally as well as the county director, and the connection I haven't made yet, and I've talked to the Department of Ecology, and the Spokane County office actually is interested in helping us, but I have not talked to the local master gardener coordinator in the extension office yet. But what we have is a composting bin that Spokane is willing to let us have, and if I can get the master gardeners involved, this may be the solution to all of our problems. And I've been working with Kelly on some other things to try and get the master gardeners engaged more on the north end for a whole variety of reasons. I have some very professional reasons with the greenhouse that I'm hoping to achieve. But in terms of composting, if we can get them active just around that, just around the bin that I have access to, and we'll have it hauled up. I'll work with you all to make sure that it's in the right location and set up the right way. But that's what I have been able to cobble together based on the conversations that I've had with people. And all I need to know is, do you want me to continue to pursue that and get the dimensions of this thing, work on a location, get the master gardeners involved? Because if I can get a yes, then I will proceed and hopefully come back next month or next time you all meet and have more information.
yes, and I did reach out to the master gardeners, and they are going to come up and have a class up here. We're gonna work with the library, so it should be, I think she said in March or April, so it is a go.
So is that a yes? You want me to try and get this bin up there and figure out how to put a program
Yeah, if
together?
it's okay with the council.
Council?
We don't need a motion on that, do we?
I don't.
Yeah, just need an agreement.
We'll do something more formal that is very articulate and very specific. I mean, I'll have a plan, we'll have a map, we'll have dimensions, we'll have all of that stuff. I just needed to know that you were interested. So now that I have a yes on the interest, I'll put together something more formal, more official, and bring that forward to the council for approval.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
That's awesome. Thank you, Trevor.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep,
Dr. Lane.
does that help?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
Yes.
great.
Trevor is fine.
I know.
Anybody in the room who knows my rule, Trevor's fine. Thank you though, I appreciate that, but Trevor's fine. So I will get going on that. Kelly, just circle back. We'll get
I
me
will.
on the agenda again,
I will
and I'll add
CC,
more info.
I will CC you in the email I got today from, I forgot her, Sarah, no.
Beverly Sarles.
No, the master program.
Beverly Sarles.
I'll CC
Beverly
you.
Charles.
Emily Charles.
Beverly.
Beverly.
Emily,
Emily?
okay.
Family?
Yeah.
I know.
Oh,
It's a go.
Thank you, Trevor.
All right, I've got to go feed this hungry kid. Is there anything else?
No, thank you.
Feeding.
You all have a wonderful evening. Thank you.
You too.
Thank you. Okay, Delane.
Bye, thank you.
Good night, good night.
Maintenance reports.
Luckily, it's been fairly slow. We would like to really be making the transition over to springtime activities, but I think it's a trap because it's only February. So the plow will stay on the plow for a little while longer. But yeah, we're just kind of looking forward to spring and yeah, wait for the grass to start growing. I can't remember, last month, did I bring up the ammonia issue we had at the sewer plant? Okay, so in this January, beginning of January, end of December, we had a hit on ammonia that was over, we have a limit in the river that has a maximum limit on our effluent from the sewer plant of 1, and I had a milligram per liter. I had a 3 milligram per liter for about a week during that cold snap. And what happens is the bacteria just slow down because it's cold.
It just freezes.
Yeah, it kind of freezes up on us, and so it can't treat the bacteria aren't working as efficiently to treat. So anyway, though, we have, we've been testing weekly basically since we got the hit on it, and it is back. Well, normally we don't even come close to our limits. It's like down around 0.018 milligrams per liter, and yeah, so, and it's back down in those ranges. It was just that little bit there, so. Anyway, it's not a big deal, it's just something that I have to report to ecology, and which I have, and just letting you all know too.
I was gonna tell them what we got today.
Do I get to tell them?
Yes.
We got the grant to do the bank stabilization project.
Oh, I don't
Well, that wasn't the one I was gonna be.
Was that not the one? Oh, no, the other one was we got the grant for the, I'm getting some new equipment for the wastewater plant, which is a flow meter and a sampler. Which we needed to update, specifically the flow meter, but they came out with some grants earlier this year, and we just have applied for it, and we found out today that we got it. But yeah, sorry Kelly about that.
That's okay, because the other one's coming up next.
Yeah, so, but yeah, that was something coming up in new business though, was the, for old business, the bank stabilization project. We were funded for it, so anyway, now it'll go into
Yeah, it's a whole new set of
planning and
directions and permits, and it's all FEMA now.
contracting and bidding and all that stuff. It's somebody else's headache luckily. So.
I mean, my understanding is we're gonna move the pipe up to the next street.
Correct. The sewer line will move
What are
from,
we gonna do with that lower street? Is that gonna stay there? Is it?
the street won't stay there. It will be abandoned as a street, but we'll probably maintain it the same way as like the park, and it will be a walkway.
Yeah, because they'll have the.
There's a
road
couple different ways we
Okay,
can
no,
go
I'm
about
just
it.
curious. I mean, I know it's in.
The town can
early
maintain
stage.
ownership of the easement and maintain it as a walkway, parkway, whatever, or we can actually, let the owners that have the property on the other side of the street just
Yeah,
extend
'cause
the
they're
lines
building
to
the
it.
bank up halfway up the road, so half the road is going back to bank. So it's
Yeah,
just gonna
it
be a
won't be as
walkway.
wide there, so it will just be a walkway path, but that'll be something that we will want to
Okay,
address.
thank you.
Yes, you folks might wanna know where they're gonna park on that.
Exactly. And how would we get?
Park.
Never mind.
It's going downhill.
Your
So we're
place
gonna
looked
go
good
to-
with the dock out front, Brian.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go to old business, updates.
Pickleball courts,
Pickleball courts, everything is still going well on that. I've got to finalize the drawings on the dimensions themselves so that I have a bid packet to give out to contractors once we throw out the request for bids.
And then they can do the formalization on that.
Correct. Yeah. I have still been kind of trying to find contractors who are willing to come up here. And I just put out the word to anybody that I know that knows contractors.
We only have one local, so.
We've got the one local and then John Mathis, John said that he might have somebody, so anyway, he was gonna get me their contact information and stuff, so. Anyways, anybody that is interested, if they give me their address and whatnot, I'll make sure they get a bid packet.
Is this something that Versatile does?
I don't know that they do concrete finishing like this, like we need, like what we need.
Yeah.
It's a little bit, it's no different basically than pouring a shop slab, but there's a little bit layer higher of finishing that has to be achieved. And so, other than that, it's your typical slab.
Yeah, okay. And I thought it might be too small for them.
Yeah, I don't know if Versatile actually has finishing crews.
They
I don't think they-
Yeah.
They might know somebody, but I don't.
But they might know somebody.
Isn't there a new concrete?
Yeah, and I've talked with him down in Iowa.
Okay, in Iowa, yes, the new business, okay. And then the next one is the stabilization project.
So FEMA has went ahead and awarded the money to the Pondere Conservation District. This is not a town thing, this is a Pondere Conservation District thing. So all the money funnels through them. We just sit back and let them do their work, and when they have questions, they'll have public comments and public hearings because they are gonna be taking so much out. The biggest thing now that we know that it's going forward, is delayed, and I have a lot of work to tag on that water distribution system. So we're only tearing up the streets once. So we have a lot of work to get done now that we know FEMA is gonna move forward. That doesn't mean it's getting done this year.
Right.
You're
this
probably
is
looking 3 or
still
4 years
3
down the
years
road.
away, I would imagine.
Well,
Unfortunately.
we're just taking the steps to get there.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, and Kelly, so much for all the work you do. We appreciate it. Okay, the next is the chickens. That was brought up a while back. What's the
I don't know.
resolved on it?
Yeah,
issue?
we reached out again, so
Okay.
I'll send another letter.
Okay, so that's been, so new business, staff raises. We need to make it retroactive back to January 10th, 2024. And you guys need to vote on that again. Need a motion to accept the 4% across the board raise that we did.
I'll make a motion, we accept the 4% across the board raise for the staff,
Retroactive.
retroactive to January 10th.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
And
Where did Michael go?
You don't wanna know.
Okay, motion passed.
Yeah, we got 3, so yeah.
Okay, so that is good. So trapping in the park.
Hi.
Oh, was that aye?
Somebody,
Thank you.
somebody muting me.
Thank you, Mike. You disappeared from us.
Well, I'm here, I keep getting muted for some reason, but Kelly must not want to hear what I have to say.
keep hearing on the background.
Oh.
He's whispering,
Okay.
but I can hear it.
So next is trapping in the park. We have an individual that wanted to trap in the park.
I can tell you the town has a no hunting policy and a no open discharge in town, so you guys go from there.
I say no.
I would say no.
Why do we need to trap something in parks? We don't have any problems down there.
Yeah, there's
It's
no
actually
gamble
in the
either.
sewer ponds, and he wants to do beavers and otters.
I think no.
We
I
don't
personally
have sewer
like-
ponds.
I meant the refocused sewer ponds. What do we want to call them now? Repurposed? Back to nature?
Yeah,
The holes by the river.
Drain.
Yes.
The drain fields?
Reclaimed.
you're right, the back to nature, let the otters and beavers or whatever, do whatever they do, just as long as they don't dam up a creek.
Right. But this person wants to know if they wanted the council to speak about it and have your decision on it, and where we already have the policy, you guys have to decide.
I say the policy holds. I say no.
Yep.
I agree with that. I don't think we need to have it brought in. I mean, somebody's gonna be.
I'll go as far as to say I agree, except the fact if they start destroying the
But
trees
then
in
you,
the park and
so, but
stuff.
then you get a permit for
Yes.
Fish and Wildlife and you do
Exactly, and they
it
take
responsibly.
Yes. If
You
they're
didn't
gonna
have
use
someone
it.
come in
And
and
Kelly,
they follow the
Kelly,
rules.
in the past, when there've been a problem, the town has contacted trappers and asked them to come and make an
Yes,
exception.
Severin told me that,
Yeah.
just to call him for
And I
a
agree with, I can just tell you from the time I was here, multiple times they were problems. But I think you're right, if they're not a problem,
Yeah.
don't ask for trouble.
No.
And we don't wanna, you don't wanna open
My
it up and
concern,
agree to
my
that.
concern is I'm not sure what kind of traps they would do, they're using.
Yes.
Exactly.
Is a trap gonna get somebody's pet or something like that?
Or child.
It's a spot, we're trying to turn that into a popular walking spot for
Exactly.
dog walking and yada yada and.
Yeah.
And I don't wanna see somebody's dog go down the chute because they got caught in a trap.
Just a
It's
point
a
of,
snare and.
yeah, point of trivia, at home on my bedroom wall is a huge beaver pelt that came out of the settling pond at Metaline. And it's been canned, but it was shot by your former water system operator. So, and it's probably from the 1970s.
Wow, he's an old one.
I think we only have two.
They were troublesome.
There's only
They were
one.
There's
troublesome.
been times when we've had to
Yes.
have them taken.
That's, yeah, and that's.
And
And that's fine,
Yeah.
that's why we need to, we need to.
Absolutely,
We
you
can
don't want,
deal with this on a case by case basis, I don't think we need to allow
I
traffic.
absolutely agree.
so,
So policy holds.
Yeah.
policy holds.
That's a hard man.
Okay.
So next is the ecology contract, resolution 2024-01.
And this, the
That is,
contract is for the water sewer plan. It's 50% grant and 50% loan with a 5-year term at 0.6%.
I talked to Kelly about this, Kelly assures me that town's got the money to do it, something we need to get done. And she also tells me that there's a good chance the county may reimburse us all the money, so I don't know what there is to discuss here, but it sounds like a good idea.
I agree, absolutely.
Yeah, because our payments would be around 500 or something, so
Well, the bottom line is we have to do it.
Yes.
And we're not gonna get a better offer.
not a 0.6%.
Exact, that's
Right.
ridiculous.
it's not something that we could.
No, absolutely.
So would someone like to make a motion to accept it?
Well, I will make a motion to accept
You need a motion to allow Pete to sign the contract.
and, okay. Make a motion for Pete to, allow Pete to sign the contract with the ecology resolution 2024-01.
Yes.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
aye.
I,
Aye.
Motion passed. Okay, council reports. Jay, do you have anything?
Not this month, but big news next month.
Okay, we're looking forward to it. Mike?
I know you're,
Okay, Alicia?
Not yet. I know usually in February is when we try to do our beautification fundraiser. Just things have been crazy, scattered, this, that, and the other. Hopefully the next month or so we'll be able to get back onto that and get everything going again.
Okay, thank you.
Parks look great, wish the docks were back in, so I had someplace to set and finish.
Soon.
I don't know, Seattle's a little worried that we're gonna get a bunch of snow, and I don't think we are.
It could happen.
I think they can put them in now and be relatively safe.
I think they'd be okay.
Anyway, no, they look good,
Do you have anything?
are the bathrooms open? I forgot to.
No, they're closed,
Thank you, Jay and Mike.
we had a pipe freeze and burst in there, so I've got them closed right now.
Okay,
Thanks.
because
for
there are
reminding me.
people using that almost on a daily basis, the kids, I mean, I don't
Yeah.
say so much.
Yeah, Townski's there,
But,
that's
yeah,
why we tried to keep them open.
So Kelly would like to hear
I'll have them
the
open up
report,
hopefully
please.
in the next
good
week
deal,
or two.
yeah, thanks.
We've got people coming in March for the Easter stuff too, so.
Right, yep.
All right, December payroll 15,782.57, expenses 75,8304, revenue 16,065.27. In January, payroll was 11,206, expenses 79,1992, and revenues 13,297.66. Need a motion.
Need a motion to accept the treasurer's?
I'll motion to accept the December and the January treasury report.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed.
Aye.
Sorry, Julie, thank you. Okay.
Public comment?
Please.
During the public comment period, your comments are limited to 3 minutes. These are guidelines to help council members hear as many different viewpoints as possible in the limited time available. If you are speaking for your group, you must tell the council how the group developed the position that you are presenting. The council may or may not answer your questions. Questions should be sent to the town's email.
I'd like to speak tonight.
Okay.
My name is Bill Basson, and the council in December was not sworn in January's meeting, and I was happening to be down at the courthouse. I caught it. I came up here, I explained it to the clerk, and so I think you guys probably should be a little thankful that I caught it, because it could have been 6 months from now when anybody caught it, and a lot of that stuff could have been your meetings wouldn't have been legal. So
We appreciate it, Bill.
Thank you for your comment.
thank you.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.